Hey, Ryan Michael Galloway here with We Don't Need No Stinking Record Company.com, and we've been talking about the evil bass wave. And so I want to talk to you a little bit more about bass and what it is doing to you and a lot of your sound. So if you're like me and you ever do, kind of small gigs, you might play through something like a stage past 300 Yamaha, or maybe one of the little B52 amps, or smaller Behringer setups. Just think about picking one up and showing it to you, but it's small, 300 watts, 150 watts a side. Now, most of the instruments I play, there is a component of bass, and I can really crank that up if I want to on, say, a guitar and really make things boom. The thing about bass is it takes an awful lot of power to amplify bass as opposed to treble sounds. So the tss, and the really high stuff doesn't take much power at all. Your tweeters hardly need any wattage to shave your hair right off. But the bass wave takes a tremendous amount. And if you have bass and treble and mids all going through the same speaker, and there's a lot of bass, you'll find that you ask an awful lot of that amplifier very quickly, to the point where it can't produce the high end very well at all, because it's expending all its energy on the low end, right? So I don't know if I can show you. You've got a circle like this, and you've got something called an oscilloscope, and you can look at a bass wave, and a bass wave might look like that. A treble wave is going to have a whole lot of waves because it's higher frequency. This is frequency and this is amplitude, okay? So your amplifier's got a limit of how high those peaks of waves can go, how much power you can shove through them. The high frequency can produce a lot more volume, because it's, I had to explain one time, it's like jumping up 3 feet and forward an inch. It takes a whole lot less energy to do that than up 3 feet and forward 3 feet, right? That saps a whole lot more power. So what happens is, if you push a lot of power into any frequency and it goes above to where the amplifier can amplify, it can ample, that it will just chop that wave right off, and you get something called a square wave. There's a way you can hear what that sounds like. If it's bad enough, you'll hear it, and sometimes that sounds good if you're playing a guitar and you're trying to overdrive it. They actually achieve just that kind of distortion in a different way in pretty much in guitar amps, well, at least in effects boxes. But when it's your clean power, like your vocal and your acoustic guitars and stuff like that, and you allow a lot of bass sound to come in, and your amp isn't huge, you will hit that distortion, or you will at very least start to detect a loss of some of the high end of the sound that's being produced. If you're listening very closely, its clarity goes away. That's because the amplifier is working way too hard to try to produce the entire amount of sound, and so at that point you have to roll off some bass. Or one of the reasons you have a bass amp that the bass guitar goes through is it allows something else to take the brunt of producing all that sound, so your regular PA can be okay. If you are having a large PA system and you're going to put the entire sound of the entire band through that big PA system, including the bass and the bass drum and stuff like that, it's best to have something called an active crossover that actually sends the bass sound to a separate set of, like, subwoofers and low-end speakers. And that way, that the power being sapped to produce that bass is going to a different set of amps. Anyway, I know this is pretty heavy techno speak, but I'm just asking you on your small PA systems in particular, and small systems that are amplifying guitars, if you want them to sound clean, and usually you do, I want you to really watch how much bass that you're allowing to come through there, because it's sapping your system. I am Ryan Michael Galloway, and We Don't Need No Stinking Record Company.com.